Tyler Amos, what happens to earnest money if the buyer wants to back out after an inspection?
So my biggest advice is to always, and this really goes for anything, look at what the contract says. That is super important, and that is why it is important to read your contracts and also have an agent that's going to go over those contracts in depth with you. So, according to our state of Ohio purchase contract that I know I'm not the only realtor that uses it in this area. Most of them do, I'm willing to bet. It says in there that if this contract terminates pursuant to any provision in paragraph 9.c, which 9.c is request to remedy or termination after an inspection, seller and buyer agree to sign a mutual release authorizing the holder to release the earnest money to the buyer.
Gotcha. And what happens if the seller does not agree to sign that mutual release?
Well, the seller signed off in the contract that they would sign that release. So if they do not sign it, the seller, in theory, and again, I'm not a real estate attorney, so I don't want to speak too much on the law, but according to how this contract is stated, the seller will agree to sign that release. So if they don't, that could potentially open the door for a buyer to take some sort of action against the seller.
And if the buyer doesn't take action, how long can the earnest money be tied up for, and who does it ultimately go back to?
So it can be tied up for up to 2 years, and unless there is a resolution or a court order or something that determines where that earnest money is going, if after 2 years there's nothing, it goes back to the buyer anyways.
Tyler Amos!
Woo woo!